It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
What's up, guys? We're back here with another podcast yet again. It's been a while since our last podcast. No guests today, but we're bringing the heat today with the topic of the day being Anakin versus Luke. Adriel, what do you think about that?
I'm excited. First podcast in a while, and it's our Halloween special.
Oh, Halloween special!
Yeah,
Happy Halloween, guys! I almost forgot about that. Yeah, it's Halloween. Doesn't really feel like Halloween, but we're bringing you all a good Halloween special today. With a good topic of the day: Anakin versus Luke. This has been highly requested from our fans. And we're finally bringing it. It's gonna be a good topic. Adriel, how have you been the last few months off the break? I mean, it's been 4 months since our last podcast. I mean, that's insane.
Real quick, shout out AJ Chapman. No, he can't be here. Praying for him. Hope he's doing good. In college and everything. We miss you. Hopefully you're gonna be back here soon and be back in your spot.
Yes, sir. We miss you.
Been real good. Just been watching a little bit of Star Wars. Trying to get back into it. But I'm excited for this topic. Because I think that we both had different opinions.
Yeah, we're gonna have some good takes today.
Yeah, we can go ahead and cut to last podcast, my take.
Yeah, and that was cool. Like looking back on that take, Adriel, that might have been it was a hot take, but honestly, it wasn't that the hottest take of the day. AJ Chapman had one of the worst takes that day. What was his take? Episode 8 is one of the most unique Star Wars films. Quoted by AJ Chapman, one of the most unique Star Wars films and most enjoyable to watch as a brand new fan. Wow. That's just... I still can't wrap my head around that take. I mean, you just got up and walked away after that take.
Man, it was ridiculous because that's probably the worst movie out there. But we still love AJ even though that opinion was...
Yeah. We've been through a lot after that last podcast. We had church camp. I mean... Man, we got to get back in the groove here. Sorry, y'all, we've been inactive. Shout out Carson Inactive, future guest on our podcast. But, yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the topic. So, Anakin versus Luke, obviously they've never battled in canon. They've never, met each other. Really just Anakin and Luke. I mean, it was always Luke and Vader. Luke really never knew the true Anakin. And... obviously, they never fought in both their primes, so today we're just gonna go over who would win in that theoretical battle, Luke versus Anakin, who would win, Revenge of the Sith Anakin, which was theoretically his most prime because he was in the dark side there right before he got his limbs chopped off, and then he got into the Darth Vader suit, and that limited his power. And Luke, we really don't. I mean, obviously, probably Luke.
Whoa. Adam Raines made a great point.
Yeah, Adam Raines made a great point.
Shout out Coach Raines. He made a great point the other day saying that, Mandalorian Luke, even though he doesn't have a lot of screen time, he'd probably clap Anakin because that probably is in his peak time because we never got to see him in his peak, really.
Yeah, because we see him in the original trilogy, obviously. Return of the Jedi, he was powerful, but I don't think Return of the Jedi Luke comes close to Revenge of the Sith Luke. That's just me personally. But we won't go too much into that yet. We're gonna start with the background of Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker. So, Anakin came from Tatooine, same as Luke. Born 41 years before the Battle of Yavin, died four years after the Battle of Yavin. Obviously the Battle of Yavin's the battle that took place in A New Hope, which was when they blew up the Death Star. Anakin's early life, he's living on Tatooine, with his mother, Shmi Skywalker, just living as a slave, just working on pod racers, And guess who comes and finds him in the first movie?
That boy Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon Jinn, I got a lot about him. Honestly, I think he's one of the best Jedis just because he kind of does his own thing. Yeah, he does his own thing because the Jedi's code, I don't agree with it a whole lot, and it kind of is the reason a lot of people became corrupt and left the Jedi. But Qui-Gon Jinn never listened to that code, and that's why he kind of the Order didn't really agree
And
with him.
a lot of people don't notice, like, I've been reading a book lately, Master and Apprentice. It's about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. A lot of people don't notice Qui-Gon was offered a seat on the Jedi Council, and he turned it down, ultimately, because one of the reasons was if he went to the Jedi Council, which he already didn't agree with a lot, he would have had to stop training Obi-Wan. He just couldn't do it.
Wow.
So, a lot of people don't know about that, and a lot of people, like, they forget about this. Anakin is the only one capable of pod racing, and he won the Boonta Eve Classic in The Phantom Menace, and that's a good feat alone.
How old was he?
9 years old.
9. Wow.
That's just impressive. His Jedi career, trained by Obi-Wan, arguably, next to Qui-Gon, one of the best Jedi ever. I mean, just embodies that what it means to be a Jedi. Like, he's never turned to the dark side, really just obeys the Jedi order, you know? What do you think?
Well, honestly, I think he is a good Jedi, but again, I don't really agree with what a Jedi is. I think he's one of the main reasons Anakin turned. He kind of let that happen. And unfortunately, like, I love Obi-Wan. I love his combat skills. And honestly, I don't think he's that wise either. I think he's kind of just relaxed. And he's calm, but he makes some dumb decisions too. And I don't know, I love Obi-Wan, but...
Well, you know, I don't know if you know this, because it's in the Clone Wars, but the leader of the his love interest, Satine, from Jesus, I can't remember the Mandalorian's world, their home world.
Oh
my gosh, can't remember. Oh wait, we're having a blank, guys. Mandalore, jeez, Mandalore,
Bro.
good lord.
No. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he did have a love interest, but he never acted out on it because of the Jedi Order, what they told him. He always was in love with Satine, and when Maul killed her in the Clone Wars, he was just devastated. But unlike Obi-Wan, Anakin actually disobeyed the Jedi Order and got married to Padme Amidala in secret, breaking Jedi rules. And also, one of Anakin's biggest feats was, like, he was one of the most powerful Jedi in his generation. And obviously Luke was too, but, like, you gotta think about it. When Anakin was getting trained, like, that was the height of the Jedi's power. That was when all the Jedi were getting trained, having the best training, lightsaber skills, and he was one of the most powerful, so. And also, he was the chosen one, believed to bring destiny to the... He was destined to bring balance to the Force from a young age when Qui-Gon found him. Eventually, he did fall to the dark side. Obviously, unfortunate. Most people don't realize why he turned to the dark side. Obviously, trying to just get more powerful. He was upset with the Jedi Council because they didn't grant him the rank of Master. But ultimately, it was his visions of Padme dying that he was just trying to find a way to save her. And one of the reasons he was so upset that he didn't get the rank of Master was because you had to be the rank of Master to go into the deep, dark secrets of the Jedi archives. And once he didn't get that rank of Master, he couldn't go in there. So that's why people don't realize why he was so upset of not being a rank of Master, was he couldn't go into those deep, dark secrets of the Jedi archive. He turned on the Jedi during Order 66. Obviously, in that movie, they had a duel on Mustafar. Lost to Obi-Wan, and then became Darth Vader. So, as Darth Vader, he served the Emperor for over 20 years. Adriel, I'll let you take it from here.
Alright, he was he was pretty ruthless, just in the way that he was honestly just one of his main objectives given to him by Palpatine, which is hunting down, like, the remaining Jedi and, you know, slaughtering them and, you know, wiping them out. And honestly, why fighting them? I've seen some stuff that's like he has some, like, visions while fighting them and everything, going back to his past. I remember there's one in particular. It's back when, like, Padme was alive, and he saw all the visions of what really went down. And ultimately, in that vision, he still ended up becoming Darth Vader. But yeah, it was just a lot. He did, or of course, he was the father of Luke and Leia. Now we can't be forgetting about Leia because, I mean, even when she was trained in the ways of the Jedi using the lightsaber, I mean, she was able to beat Luke in combat. Obviously, probably wasn't going his full potential, but still, like, she was able to handle her own. She was a great, what was she, senator? Of what? Princess?
Oh, yeah.
But she was a
Princess of Alderaan.
Yep. She's just a great leader in general, leading the rebellion and everything along with Luke. So we can't be forgetting about her. But ultimately, two of the, what was I gonna say? I can't even think of it. Just two of the best in the galaxy. They ended the Empire for that time.
Yeah, I mean his children were the reasons that the Empire ultimately fell, and also we can't forget Anakin turning back to the light side in Return of the Jedi. After Luke just keeps on nagging him about how he's still good and he still has good in him, he ultimately turns on the Emperor, kills the Emperor, and ultimately brings balance to the Force, fulfilling the Chosen One prophecy, and dies in Luke's arms and is redeemed in the Force, appearing as the Force Ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi. And now we're on the Luke Skywalker. We just ended Anakin Skywalker's backstory. Now we're on Luke Skywalker. Also, his homeworld was Tatooine, just like Anakin. He was born 19 years before the Battle of Yavin. His parents were Anakin and Padme, of course. He had a twin sister, Leia. He was part of the Rebel Alliance, the New Republic, and the New Jedi Order. And Adriel, I'll let you take us from here.
Yeah, so he was originally raised by his aunt and uncle on Tatooine, and that's just because, of course, Yoda and Obi-Wan decided to put him into hiding so Vader couldn't find them, and
he never knew of his Jedi heritage.
Exactly, not until actually right before he went and blew up the Death Star, which is also just crazy to me because like he just left Tatooine as a farmer and went and blew up the Death Star. So that's a pretty good feat by Luke. Also, you know, he, like you said, he didn't know of his heritage. He was a Jedi. His father was probably one of at that.
But he knew Ben Kenobi.
He did know Ben Kenobi,
which he was a pretty weird guy until obviously he was Obi-Wan. You know, in the New Hope, after his aunt and uncle were ultimately slaughtered by the Empire when they come down looking for R2-D2 and C-3PO, he went back. Well, obviously he already met Obi-Wan before that, and then he went back to his home and saw his parents killed, well, his aunt and uncle killed. And so that ultimately pushes him to like, oh yeah, I'm going to stop the Empire. So he trains with Obi-Wan for a little bit on the Millennium Falcon. Obviously, here at the Millennium Falcon podcast, we love the Millennium Falcon. That's where Luke first learns about the Force. But ultimately, he was trained by Yoda on Dagobah and in The Empire Strikes Back. Lightsaber colors, he was first blue because that's what Anakin's lightsaber was, and then in Return of the Jedi, he ultimately gets his green lightsaber that he built on his own. He had a big role in the Galactic Civil War, destroyed the Death Star not once but twice, one in A New Hope and one in Return of the Jedi. He faced Darth Vader multiple times. Discovered Vader was his father during The Empire Strikes Back. He redeemed his father in Return of the Jedi, just helping him realize that they're still good in him. And after the Empire's fall, Adriel, I'll let you take us from here.
Yeah, after that, he was he attempted to rebuild the Jedi Order. He actually started training the young Jedi and Force users. One of those happened to be Ben Solo, obviously Han and Leia's son. Unfortunately, Ben did fall to the dark side, and the thing about Ben that I like is he knew that he was just trying to, like, after he fell, of course, he was just trying to become like his grandfather and become like Vader, and that's basically what he based his whole thing around.
Yeah, we're gonna have a podcast on Kylo Ren because Kylo Ren is one of the best things about the sequel trilogy, and they're still trying to bring him back in a new movie, but Disney just won't accept it. But yeah, obviously the actor that played Kylo Ren was just amazing, one of the best. Like, I feel like they should have kept him alive to keep the Skywalker heritage going, because like he is the grandson of Darth Vader, Anakin, and like I feel like if they kept him alive at the end of Rise of Skywalker, like it would have been much better off, because like people really only like the sequels because of Kylo. So Kylo's just a big character in the sequels. Obviously, Luke trained him, exiled himself after Ben's fall. Luke went to hiding on that planet, and it was also the first Jedi Temple's location. Slide 5, Final Acts and Legacy. He faced Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi, projected himself through the Force to save the Resistance in The Last Jedi, passed peacefully, becoming one with the Force, appears in a Force Ghost in The Rise of Skywalker. And before we get, well, no, we'll do the feats real quick. So Anakin had a lot of feats because, you know, he was battling in the Clone Wars, obviously had so many battles in the Clone Wars. One of his feats, just his lightsaber skills just are on par with Obi-Wan's and anybody's in the Jedi Order also. And also battling toe-to-toe with Count Dooku, which was one of the best swordsmen in all of the universe. So that alone is a great feat. He defeated Count Dooku in Revenge of the Sith, which was an amazing feat. Like, you gotta think, Count Dooku in Revenge of the Sith was giving Obi-Wan belt. Remember what happened to Obi-Wan when they fought on General Grievous' ship? What happened? He got slinged away and he got crushed by that little thing. So, and then he matched Obi-Wan Kenobi blow for blow on Mustafar. Their duel's one of the most intense battle in the whole Star Wars universe. He had unprecedented force potential, described in the Phantom Menace by having the most highest midichlorian count of all time, which was obviously a great feat. He was the chosen one, and described by Yoda to having the most potential of all the Jedi, which Yoda saying that is you're next up. So Anakin, Adriel, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so obviously Anakin defeated Count Dooku, also Asajj Ventress, multiple times in the Clone Wars series. Unfortunately, I'm not too caught up on the Clone Wars yet. I'm trying to get back in and watch it. Heard it's really good, so I need to get in there and watch that. But he also was able to take down General Grievous's forces. He destroyed I don't know. You probably couldn't even count how many battle droids.
So many battle droids. Which battle droids aren't hard to beat, but you got to think about it over and over, day after day, battling the Separatist forces, just bringing down multiple battle droids. Which honestly, I think would be hard for Luke to do, especially with his lightsaber skills.
I won't speak on that yet, but
and he fought Ventress multiple times, like we said, and Savage Opress, which people don't know a lot about Savage Opress, but he was pretty much a beefier version of Darth Maul, and he fought both simultaneously and held his own. Now we'll go to Luke Skywalker's feats. Obviously, like we said before, destroyed the Death Star on multiple occasions. In A New Hope, Luke used the Force to make an impossible shot, firing a proton torpedo into the small exhaust port to destroy the Death Star. This feat cemented his role as the galaxy's New Hope. And Adriel, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I just think that is even crazier, just the fact that, like I was saying earlier, he literally just came from being a farmer on Tatooine and just able to use just the Force, no guiding system, and just fire it into that hole perfectly, and just destroy the Death Star. So that's even crazier when you put it that way. Obviously, he defeated his father, Darth Vader, in combat, which I will say, like, Darth Vader obviously doesn't compare anywhere to Anakin Skywalker's combat. You know, the suit held him back. Obviously, his limbs were chopped off and
Makes
everything.
him slower.
Yeah. And so, I won't lie, it doesn't compare to if he was, how he was in Revenge of the Sith. But, I will also say he had, like, his wisdom and, like, he did, like, have a lot more wisdom and he had a lot more emotional control than Anakin, I feel, and was better with his feelings. And he just won by embracing the good in him, unlike the hatred. Along with this, it led to when he defeated Vader, it led to the fall of the Emperor, and that started Anakin's redemption right there. And so, I'll just let you go back.
All right. In the sequels and the canon novels, Luke demonstrates incredible Force abilities such as Force projections, like he did in The Last Jedi. Like, just think about how powerful you have to be in the Force to project a hollow image of you across the whole universe. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody else doing that. I don't know if even Anakin could do that. Maybe if he lived long enough to build up his strength in the Force. He can control his Force ghost. He has incredible combat skill. Obviously, he's an expert with a lightsaber. Created his own green-bladed saber. Is a sign of growth as a Jedi. Defeated Jabba the Hutt's guards and Rancor without fear or hesitation in Return of the Jedi. Balanced calmness and precision, unlike the aggression seen in the prequel era Jedi, like Anakin. Their fighting tactics, Anakin's fighting tactics, his physical peak, arguably the most gifted Jedi in galactic history, which I agree with also. He's a lightsaber master, trained in all 7 forms with heavy emphasis on 4 and 5. Or is that 4 and 4? I think that's 4 and 4. A physically aggressive, counteractive based style. His Force power, was off the charts because he had the most midichlorians. His tactics was highly instinctive, unpredictable, and fueled by passion, which can make him both brilliant and reckless. He does have a weakness. He's overconfident, cocky, emotional, like, he's just vulnerable. And he has a tendency to fight with ego rather than clarity. And Luke's fighting tactics, Andrew, I'll let you take it from here.
Alright. And first of all, I will say, I wish we were talking about Legends when if they were to fight each other, because Legends Luke is something else, probably the strongest in the whole Star Wars galaxy, I'd say. But we're just sticking to canon right here, and so he was self-taught in his lightsaber combat, because obviously, like, Obi-Wan didn't have time to really teach him that, and Yoda kind of just stuck with him with the Force and, like, wisdom and everything. That's why he was so much better at that than Anakin, because Yoda obviously had the time to teach him that and train with him on that, and Yoda didn't really use his lightsaber, actually. He was more with the Force. But then his connection, he didn't have that raw talent. Like, he still did, but not as much as Anakin. But like I said, he was more balanced and composed. Legends and canon Luke, they're both obviously powerful, but Luke becomes one of the most powerful Jedi to ever live in both. But obviously, I think Legends, he probably is. And he goes on to probably surpass Yoda and even Force mastery. Which, like, we just gotta take a second to think about that, because Yoda is something else with the Force. Like,
well, obviously, Yoda was powerful because he lived so long. Like, he was over
800.
800 years old. So obviously over that time, obviously, like, as we know from the Mandalorian, like, Grogu, he's like 50 years old and he's still pretty much a baby. So obviously, like, it probably takes him a long time to, like, be mature. So, like, but still over 800 years of living, and he still gets passed by Luke in Force mastery. That's a good feat. His tactics, Luke doesn't really fight to dominate. He fights to understand and redeem people. That emotional discipline is really a huge strength. One of his strengths is emotional control and deep connection to the light side. His compassion gives him the clarity that Anakin did not have. And Anakin Luke's psychological warfare. This fight really isn't just about muscle and lightsabers. It's about it's personal. Luke represents the hope Anakin lost. Anakin represents the temptation Luke must overcome. Anakin's, he's driven by fear and loss and anger. Obviously, his whole Jedi career, he's just thinking about the loss of his mother, that he could not save her. That really just bothers him. And then becoming really attached to Padme, which is, I feel like everybody would, because she's really pretty, he becomes really attached to Padme, just loves her so much. And then when he gets those visions, that just drives him to not think clearly.
Then obviously we got Luke. He's more in his love and faith. Obviously he wanted to save his father and turn him back to Anakin, and he wasn't going into it trying to like take him down or defeat him in any way. Like, he just wanted Anakin to turn back. And so that's and you even saw, like, while he's walking to the Emperor, Luke was trying to talk to his father and get him to turn back, and obviously Vader said it was too late for him. But in the end, he ultimately did end up turning back because Luke saw that light in him still and was able to change him back.
Alright, before we get into who we think would win a battle between them two, we're going to take a little short commercial break, and then we're going to get into our hot takes, and then after that, we're going to see who would win, in our opinions, who would win, Luke versus Anakin. So, we'll see y'all in a few minutes. We'll be back at it with the hot takes.